Let's look at the tradition of alchemy. This came out of the Egyptian tradition. Again, to re-emphasize, it's what all these traditions were about. Teaching morality to their adherents. Teaching the difference between right and wrong, and teaching how natural law operates, so we could transform from a being that is in ignorance of that knowledge to a being that is actually enlightened to that knowledge, and then could practically put that knowledge into work in real life. Alchemy literally means from chem. Al is a prefix that means from or related to or out of. And then chem, of course, meant black in ancient Egyptian and was often the name used for Egypt. So it was from darkness, out of darkness. Alchemy is an occult tradition taught through allegories. An allegory, again, is a cryptic story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted or decoded in order to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral lesson. What lesson were they trying to communicate to people by building statues? And you'd have to know the background of the story of these gods to really be able to decode, what the allegory is. Showing that statue to somebody who's never heard of Horus, Osiris, or Isis wouldn't really do much. But if you understand the verbal traditions and the written stories about those gods, then you understand what they represented, and the allegory can be decoded. That's how occultism works. It works through relational and correlative thinking. Some of the symbols in the symbolic tradition of allegory, very simple, basic, rudimentary ones. There's so many of them, you can get lost in them all. There were elemental forces that the alchemists wanted to convey information about and basically define. And they had a symbol for them, and then they interpreted that allegorically. And here's some basic ones. The symbol of earth, an inverted equilateral triangle with a line going through about the 2/3 point if you take the measure from the base to the apex. The symbol of earth represented inherent characteristics of the being. Air represented the intellect, and that is the pure intellect, meaning the left brain modality, our ability to compute, our ability to define things logically, our ability to break things down, analyze, etc. Water, the inverted triangle, represented emotion, intuition, and creativity. Again, that sacred feminine essence, dealing with largely emotion and the sacred feminine qualities. And then fire, an upward pointing triangle. Again, we've seen that inverted triangle in water, representing the chalice, called the chalice in many older symbolic traditions. And the element of fire in alchemy was the upright pointing triangle, which represented the blade, or again, a rudimentary masculine phallic symbol representing action, willpower, and courage. Okay, the actual ability to create change within oneself and to go out and create change in the world. Then there was a fifth element. So you have earth, air, water, and fire, and then you had the quintessence, meaning the fifth essence. The fifth element was spirit, represented by a solar wheel with 8 spokes, a circle and then an eight-spoked cross in the middle of it. This represented the divine spark or the divine essence within all of us. The essence of the source, or the creator, the underlying intelligence in nature, which is ultimately present in everything within nature, including us. Alchemists speak of something called prima materia, or starting matter. Starting substance is what prima materia was. Again, the starting substance is the human being that needs to be purified, that needs the impurities removed from them so that they can come to a more clear and accurate and de-occulted understanding of the laws of nature. The starting substance, or prima materia, is used at the inception of the alchemical work, the beginning. Silver is considered to be one of the starting substances. There are others, but silver is one of the main sources of prima materia in alchemy. The alchemical symbol for silver is associated with the moon because silver represented in alchemy the feminine aspects of the human psyche, including the attributes of intuition, inner wisdom, compassion, open-mindedness, and contemplation. And that's what you need to begin. You need that sense of open-mindedness, of desire, of willing to learn, willing to open yourself up and receive. The truth is always out there, but we have to be open to receive it. That's a feminine quality. Absolutely essential and central to the tradition of Kabbalah, which means reception. The second phase of alchemical transformation is albedo, which means whitening. Albedo represents the process of spiritual purification, the burning out of impurities from the salt or hardened ego. The salt in this step is reduced into quicksilver or mercury, which represents fluidity, and the process of rapid mental, emotional, and spiritual change, and the strengthening of the sacred feminine essence, leading to the engagement of the imagination, the only substance, the only essence from which the elixir of life, or the awakened or enlightened mind, can then be made. This step is the awakening process, the awakening step. It's when we recognize the world isn't what we thought it was, and we start developing a desire for more than the base things in life. We start developing a desire to know the truth, the desire to reach higher realms of consciousness, the desire to better ourselves and be better than we were the day before. When we're going to start working upon ourselves by taking in the truth and letting go of beliefs and letting go of impurities in our thought processes and bringing our consciousness into alignment with truth and with morality. That's this step of the process. Whitening, purification. The third and final phase of the alchemical, quote, great work is rubedo. Rubedo means reddening. The transmutation into gold or sulfur, alchemical substances, gold or sulfur. And they represented purified and enlightened consciousness. The elemental fire of the philosopher's stone. Again, that's why it was symbolized by a red elixir. Often the philosopher's stone was depicted as a red stone itself. And that represented the unification of man, which was the limited being, with the divine will, often represented by a red color as well. The unlimited. That's alchemy in a nutshell. Very simple explanation of the allegorical tradition. Let's briefly look at the Hermetic tradition. Heed these words, ye who wish to probe the depths of nature. If you do not find within yourself that which you seek, neither will you find it outside of yourself. If you ignore the wonders of your own house, how do you expect to find other wonders? In you is hidden the treasure of treasures. Know thyself, and you will know the universe and the gods. To know the self is to know the universe. To know the universe is to know the self. It's to understand the dynamic interplay between free will and natural law. A theme that comes up over and over and over again in occult traditions and teachings.